Whoa! Yet again, I believe this is unlucky episode 13.
Oh,
Oof.
that's a shame.
Yuck. We gotta get past this one quick, but luckily, it's the perfect match card to have a nice, quick episode as we are here with Night Sky, the very frequent, recurring host, I guess we should say. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. That's for the viewers to decide.
Maybe it's a good thing. Who knows?
Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. But we are here to talk about Bash in Berlin. We are filming this about a week and a half prior to the PLE. So at the time of recording, we only have 4 matches. Now we know the Triple H Chef Special is a 5-match card. So we can only assume that at least one more match is getting confirmed either on this SmackDown, on Raw, or on the final SmackDown before the PLE. Some people are asking for 2 more matches. Maybe we even have a possibility where it is only these 4 matches. Who knows? But before we dive into discussing the 4 matches, welcome on Mista. I think the last time you were here, we were doing the SummerSlam post podcast after watching it at the wedding. How you doing? And I guess we'll jump right into the first question of what do you think is missing from this card?
Well, first off, thanks for having me again. Glad to be here, of course, Mr. Wrestling Aficionado himself. I will say, from what I've been paying attention to, it does feel like a very light card, kind of compared to like what we've had before with Triple H. But we probably will get like another match in. I like the 5 kind of standard ones. But I mean, we were just kind of going over it before the episode right now too, and judging off of the cards that we do have, I don't really know what else you could add in to make it like kind of feel like, oh crap, this is a crazy event. Because I feel like as much as I'd say the same for like Money in the Bank, like how it was like a holdover until SummerSlam, I feel like this Bash in Berlin is more so like kind of like a not a placeholder, but like a steady PLE to hold you over before Bad Blood, which I imagine is probably where they're going to be putting a lot of like, oh shit, like we're about to get real serious again here type moments. And we can talk about that a little bit too, but I think, I mean, I might have to catch up on the storylines for some stuff, but I feel like there's not much else you can really add in for it to until it feels clustered a little bit. But and we can get into each individual match as well. But I think just for what we have right now, for what we're kind of are getting into for these stories, I think right now 4 is pretty good. 5 would be good too, but I don't think we need that much more.
Okay, and then as for the matches themselves that could be added, I do agree. I like the Triple H special, the 5, you know. I feel like that's always been in a good hot spot, and it's worked. The matches that I've seen rumored would be Braun Breaker and Dragunov for the IC title. We'll see if that happens, because I don't think Dragunov is from Berlin, Germany, but I think he's like from the surrounding area, if I'm not mistaken, like one of those surrounding countries. So maybe he gets a little bit of like a pop being out there. And I just think, for me personally, those would be the biggest voids. Like, there's no Braun with the IC title, and there's no LA Knight with the US title. And as we've become accustomed to at this point, the tag titles just never get on these damn PLEs, man. Like, not even just the men's, like even the women's tag titles. Like, I think it's still, I don't even remember their names. Like, Blade.
Isla,
yeah. Those people.
Dawn.
Yeah, Isla Dawn and the other one. No disrespect to them, it's just they're never around, you know. And like, as someone that doesn't sit through the 5 hours of WWE weekly programming, like I'll usually just watch the clips. They don't get posted about a lot. So it's like, if you're not getting posted on the social medias, you're not getting the highlights from the shows, I feel like the very casual wrestling fan audience ain't gonna know you. And that's the whole tag team division in WWE, man. It is definitely underappreciated, underused, and definitely very overlooked. But I don't know, same as you, like you mentioned it, like just storylines wise, we don't really know what could be added. I think you could have had the opportunity to finally have like Uncle Howdy debut versus Chad Gable, but I saw that match is actually going to be on Raw. So yeah, it either happened or it's going to be on Raw, like it was announced.
I think it's going to happen. Yeah. They already have it confirmed.
So you know, other than those mid-card titles on like the Wyatt 6, I don't really have much else that could have been added. I mean, any other ideas that you might have, or like
No. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's nothing going on with Nia Jax, right?
That's true, yeah.
Her title defense, too, because, yeah, she's women's champion now. but I mean, I don't really think you can do much with her, at least for Berlin. So I think like, and even with the tag titles as well, because what was it? It's the two women have that. I forget their names too.
Yeah.
No offense to that. But then for the men's, it's the Bloodline. They have the tag titles. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. Well, at least they have the SmackDown ones. Who has the Raw ones?
Raw is either Judgment Day or.
I think it is Judgment Day.
No, I think it was DIY, but then Judgment Day beat DIY.
No. Bloodline beat Judgment Day. No, Bloodline beat DIY.
Oh, you're right. That's
SmackDown.
Bro, this is what I'm talking about, the tag team division, but I can't even follow it. Who is the champ?
Judgment Day beat Awesome Truth.
Yes. Okay.
That was a while ago.
I think they're still the champ. We're going to just guess that Judgment Day is still the champions, but that just shows you how meaningless the tag team titles are. Like,
yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah.
You think about like champions in WWE right off the bat, you're like, oh my god, Gunther, Cody Rhodes, like Braun Breaker, LA Knight, and then you'll think of the women, Liv Morgan, Nia Jax. Like those come to mind like nothing.
Instantly.
You think about the tag titles, I can't tell you who's the champ. It's so overlooked, and the tag team division in WWE is just so disrespected. And I think we just need some tag matches on these PLEs, man. That's what's getting just, that's what's been missing. I feel like this whole year. Like, even at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they've been just reserved for SmackDown and for Raw. Because at WrestleMania they had them, but
even then it was a ladder match, Like, they didn't even let the tag titles be won, like, in a... Like, I really loved WrestleMania 39 when, like, the Usos lost to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It was like... That was peak tag team wrestling in WWE. On night one main event, I was like, holy shit, this is cinema. Like the shot of Sami Zayn getting ready to do the hula kick. All those years of the Bloodline storytelling. And then like a year later, it's like the tag team titles are just destroyed, man. So I hope the tag team division has a recovery and a resurgence in WWE. And personally, I do think at least one more match is getting added. I've seen frequently, again, the Braun Breaker match being thrown around. So I guess in that scenario, we'd find out on Monday for Raw. But, yeah, I mean, clearly, I think we're pretty comfortable with the 4 matches that have been announced. Obviously, the newest one was the strap match, which we'll talk about later.
Ooh.
But
the strap-on match? Oh, wait.
Whoa. The story continues cast is family friendly, or is it? Probably not. Probably not.
PG, brother.
PG-13. Okay, this is a PG-13 podcast. But we were talking about tag teams, and I think it's the perfect bridge to jump into the match card where I don't even need my phone for this. I already memorized the 4 matches because there's so little to remember. Let's talk about the mixed tag team match that is on this card. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be fun. You get the Terror Twins, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, versus the Lovebirds. Oh, what does he have that I don't? Dom and Liv Morgan. Who wins this one, and how are you feeling?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I watched the highlights from the last episode of Raw, and essentially it was supposed to be... What was it? It was Damian Priest versus... Who was he fighting after? Was it Dom? I forget. I think it was Dom. But then all of a sudden, Judgment Day comes out and starts like jumping them, and then essentially it's a way to kind of essentially put over Judgment Day a little bit, just kind of be like, yeah, we don't need Damian, we don't need Rhea to be this like menacing force in Raw. Which once again, why is Carlito there? It makes it's so funny just to see him just be a part of it. It's like the funniest thing ever. But then you got JD McDonough, and then you got Finn Balor, and you got Dom, and you got Liv now. But I think that was just kind of, I mean, not surprising, but yeah, I guess that it needed to make sense to show that they're a good threat. For this fight in particular, I do think that Damian and Rhea will win. If they don't, I'll be surprised, but also kind of like, yeah, I get it. But like, these two are like, they've lost everything essentially. That's what happens. They lost the Judgment Day. They lost their titles. They both lost their titles. That's crazy to think about too. Yep. At one point at WrestleMania too, Damian was the champion as well as Rhea. Now they both lost their championships. Rhea lost Dom. You can say all this kind of thing about it. But I think because of that, it pushes them to really. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this, because you don't usually see mixed tag matches like this. especially for these two people, for Rhea and for Damien, who were like really good wrestlers. And Dom, I'm telling you what, I'm glad that Dom is getting this little bit of a push too as well, because he's turned heel by being a heel already. Yep. So I think that's really cool. And Liv Morgan also is very, very athletic too, and I'm excited to see what she brings to the match as well. But I do think that just because of if we're talking power wise, I think the Terror Twins take it easily. It might not be as easy as I say it could be. There might be some theatrics, obviously, back and forth, but I do think at the end of the day, I think, I think Rhea gets the pin. I think I could see that. She gets it on Liv and in the most disrespectful way ever. And then boom, that's it.
Yep. Okay, I like it. I agree. I do think Terror Twins are coming out of this. I feel like Judgment Day can afford a loss and they'll still be fine. I don't know. You talked about the theatrics. I don't know if there's going to be interference during the match or Terror Twins get the win and then immediately get jumped by Judgment Day. Two things. One, you made a good point that we just don't get mixed tag team matches often, let alone on a PLE. This is cool that we're gonna get a mixed tag team match on a grand stage like this, and icing on the cake with an international crowd. So this crowd about to be lit, about to be loud. It's gonna be an exciting event, and it's gonna be cool to have a mixed tag match. I think it's always fun because no matter what, if you're selling if you're just selling the idea of watching WWE to someone that doesn't watch WWE, naturally, if you look at the storylines right now, I feel like a lot of casual eyes would turn to the storyline of Dom Mysterio and this the whole love situation with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, because they've always said it. Sex sells. People are just into that love shit, man. They're gonna be like, oh, look at this, it's a love story. I'm interested, especially when it's Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan involved, when all the wrestling fans are howling and down bad.
Oh.
With that being said, I think it's going to be really cool to, now showcase this storyline on a grand stage. It's going to just take it another level. And I think we had talked about it during the SummerSlam podcast that Liv and Rhea aren't done. I think this is just going to be another stepping stool in the rivalry. They're going to continue on along to Bad Blood, where I think, their defining match in the feud will take place. It's got to be hardcore or something, That
would be sick, yeah.
And I'm going to stand with that prediction. I think we're going to be agreeing on this one that the Terror Twins get the win. I just feel like if Rhea and Priest lose, it's harder for them to recover versus the Judgment Day losing, where it's they're going to be slimy and cheat anyway. So it's I feel like they can handle a loss and still be fine. People are still going to be invested in Liv and Dom's on-screen couple. I feel like having the Terror Twins win will help build them some momentum after, like you said, they lost everything. So it'll be a good way to just pick them back up. And I think it's going to be a fun match. It's going to be the first mixed tag match that I can remember seeing in a long while, in WWE at least.
Yeah.
I know AEW does them semi-frequently, but WWE is pretty stingy with them. They'll only give it to you once in a good while.
Mm-hmm. But, now, there was one thing I forgot to say too, and I just thought about it too. You did say if there is going to be some kind of interference, right? More than likely going to be from the Judgment Day. But then I'm thinking well, then who the hell is going to help out Damien and Rhea, right? Who do we know that on the Raw brand especially, who's going to come out and be no, that's enough. We gotta help them. And honestly, I can't think of anyone, but there's one sleeper pick. And you already know, I think it would be wild, but it would be the most random thing ever if he did. I think Jey Uso, if it did come to it, because he's they're teasing a little bit of something, and obviously, correct me if I'm mistaken, but even the smallest tease on WWE can really mean a lot of things, and it can really set up a story for however long you want to keep pushing it. So I mean, we're seeing stuff. Jay's yo, let's go to Waffle House type thing, and he's I heard Mommy's single. Let's go. That type of thing, right? So maybe, just maybe, Jey Uso could be let me help you out here real quick. Let me put the pain on. Let me put the smackdown, if you will, on Dirty Dom, that type of thing. But again, I don't know. Probably not. But it would be kind of cool, and I wonder how they would kind of spin that storyline too. Because ultimately, too, I don't want to jump the gun here as well, but ultimately, Jay is gonna somehow get involved with the Bloodline story again, right? And so if you slowly start to piece some stuff together, you can already see with, if he's going to team up with Sami Zayn again for the tag titles. Although I take that back because I think I saw on like an interview at Raw, he says, "Oh, I'm trying to go for." He said he was going to enter the tournament for the Intercontinental Championship, so he's gonna try to go for a singles push. Don't know if he'll get it. Perhaps, probably not. At least right now, but that could set him up for something else too. So just a little kind of extra factoid in there.
No, it's really good, and I think a lot of people. People are weird with Jey Uso, man. Because I remember heading into Money in the Bank, they were like, "Oh my God, he's on the poster. He's gonna win Money in the Bank. Like he doesn't need it. Like stop pushing Jey Uso." And then recently, I've seen that all flip. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're wasting Jey Uso. Like he's so over." Yeah. Like I'm like, you people are fickle. Pick a side. What is this? But yeah, I do think it's complicated for Jey Uso, but in a good way, because where he lost Money in the Bank, he doesn't have a guaranteed world title shot upcoming. He kind of has been bouncing around storylines. Like for a while, he was like kind of involved in the Wyatt Six thing with Chad Gable, and it kind of like came out of that. Now he's like been dropping the Easter eggs with Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day. But of course, we all know inevitably he'll be involved in Bloodline Civil War come Survivor Series. If he's not, everyone's wrong, because everyone's predicting that Bloodline Civil War is coming around. In my eyes, I think it would be cool to have him partake in both. So like cash in now on Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley, like let that happen now, go through Bad Blood and whatnot, and then whenever Bloodline Civil War is really, really, really picking up steam, that's when you can kind of pull Jey aside and be like, all right, now we're gonna focus on this. I do think Sammy's getting involved. He was in the OG Bloodline. It makes sense for him to be there. So I like that Easter egg was planted. The honorary Oos. Are you feeling Oosy, my bro?
Of course.
But yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about this because the storyline is just so in depth with the Judgment Day and what they're cooking on Monday Night Raw. It's gonna be very, very exciting. But that's not one of the only top storylines on Raw. As we alluded to, we got a strap match. Strap match. Sorry, just a strap. Drew McIntyre, CM Punk. It's the second iteration. No Seth Rollins this time around. He got tsunami'd into the injured reserve list. So it's just going to be Punk and Drew with a strap. What you thinking? I feel like, I'm going to just say this before you dive into it. If Drew got the win at SummerSlam, I think we know what that means for this one. But go ahead.
So before I do that, remind me again what the rules are for a strap match, because I still kind of don't get it.
So they're always very ambiguous with these things, but to my knowledge, you're gonna be wrist strap, so Punk's wrist, Drew's wrist strap, and you're like literally restrained together with a literal leather strap, and you can use it as a weapon. You can choke each other and whatnot. But like if Drew wanted to be a heel and try to run out of the arena, like he's literally gonna be either dragging CM Punk, or Punk will be like, hell nah, get back in this ring. That's what I believe a strap match is. But they change stipulations so often. A strap match could be like a belt hanging from a ladder. Like, like...
They said something too about like for the four corners or whatever. Like you have to hit all four corners.
Yeah, that was one. Like they had this one stipulation with like a flag, or like you had to like touch it in every corner. Like that's what I mean. It's like sometimes WWE will drift with different stipulations. But to my knowledge, a traditional strap match is like bound by the wrist, attached to your opponent. So for this podcast's sake, let's go with that as the stipulation. Okay. But if we end up watching it next Saturday and we're like, what the hell is this? There's a belt from the rafters. We got it so wrong.
It's actually the strap-on match. But I mean, anyway, no. Back onto it. No, but all right. So, okay, knowing that now, going into this, I think, yes, I would agree with that too, with your little take. I think these two will probably have a best of three, if that makes sense, right? So I think, yeah, obviously Drew won the first one. I think Punk will win this one. But then... not going ahead, it could be a Bad Blood again too. Maybe Punk wins that one too. I think Punk is gonna be the one who like finishes this whole thing. But I do think he wins here at Bash in Berlin. I do believe that, because he's ticked off. He's still pissed off. Drew's all smug and everything now. He's got the win off of SummerSlam fresh on his mind. He's feeling good. He still has the bracelet. People are saying that forget the championships in WWE, and it's all about the bracelet and the Ula Fala at this point. To see who's wearing what. So I think that's kind of funny. But anyway, I think CM Punk does take this one. I think it's a good match. I think, you get to see the strength from both sides. Obviously, CM Punk at SummerSlam showed that he can still hang with the big boys. He's got the athleticism, he's got the talent, he's got the movement. And I do think we'll get a good show from it. But I do think CM Punk takes the win on this one as well.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, so I don't have much to add. I do think it's going to be a brutal match, probably the most graphic of the match card. And with a rivalry like this, where it's just literally built around hate, there's no title involved, it's just two men hating each other. I think it's fun that it's going to be a stipulation match. Obviously, the first match was just a straight wrestling match, but I guess the stipulation was the special guest referee. And honestly, that was just to get Seth Rollins on the match card so they could do his entrance and be like, yeah, Seth Rollins is at SummerSlam. But nowadays Seth is out of the picture, so it's just two guys that hate each other. And I would predict CM Punk also getting the win, just because I feel like if Drew goes up 2-0 as the heel, it's harder for Punk to still come after him with like a valid reason and with momentum behind him. I feel like it's easier when a good guy, a face, goes up 2-0, and then the heel can just be so obsessed with trying to get a win over this guy. That's an easier story to tell, but where the roles are reversed and Drew is the bad guy in the story, I think that would be hard to pull off for CM Punk to have two losses yet still continue the story. So I do think it makes sense for Punk to win. If I'm not mistaken, it was a strap match actually that Punk had with MJF in AEW a couple years back, and people really praise that as Punk's best match in AEW. So Punk is well known now for these hardcore strap matches. So it'll be cool to see him have one in WWE with his number one rival Drew McIntyre. I'm gonna give the win to Punk, as we said. I don't see any interference or any shenanigans happening. I think this is a one-on-one. Hate each other feud, and again, I do also think this will also culminate at Bad Blood. I think all these storylines are literally gonna go up until Bad Blood and just have vicious matches at this pay-per-view, and then right when Bad Blood comes and goes, the full focus for WWE and their promotional material will be Bloodline Civil War. That's gonna be the shit come November. It's gonna be Bloodline Civil War up
Bloodline
the wazoo. It's going to be just like SummerSlam when there's the poster of Solo with his hand out the car and the boys behind him.
Fucking car.
It's going to be the same Bloodline Civil War propaganda for Survivor Series, bro. But yeah, we are halfway through the card already since there were only 4 matches and 2 are down. So I think it's time to finally jump over to the only SmackDown match on the card so far. The American Nightmare, the man we built this podcast around, Cody Rhodes defending against Kevin Owens, an interesting challenger. I'm actually going to start this one. I feel like I don't get to start the matches too often.
You got to go for it, yeah.
It's our boy Cody. I got him hanging up. I want to talk about my man Cody. So with that being said, I think, once again, Cody's going to retain. I don't see Cody losing unless it's to someone like The Rock or someone that you blatantly know is going for that championship and worthy of it. Like Randy Orton, maybe. But I do think it's going to be an interesting match. I can't remember the last time Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes fought each other, if ever, one-on-one. And I'm hoping we see a Kevin Owens heel turn. That's what I've been reading on, and that's what I feel like is needed. I think Kevin Owens has always been a much better bad guy than he has been a better good guy. He's just got that look, that intensity in him. And when he was Universal Champion, however many years ago now, mad long ago, he was champion as a bad guy, and he was damn good at it, he's just a really good heel. So I would love to see, KO lose. He freaks out, snaps on Cody, turns on him. And then, with KO's association with Randy Orton, obviously it's going to be a little complex to, drag Randy into the story now because he's going to be fighting in the final match we're talking about. But I do think, again, you're just, planting those seeds to Cody versus Randy down the line. You now have Randy's ally turning on Cody, I feel like that's the direction this match should go. I think it'll be a great match. KO and Cody are 2 of my favorites in WWE. So I'm excited to see them fight. And I think as of now, KO is still a face. So this is going to be a babyface versus babyface. one of those matches just out of pure respect and love for the game. And yeah, like I said, I think Cody gets the win. But what you thinking about this one?
So realistically, I would agree as well. I think Cody is going to get the win for this one, but I haven't seen this as well. Streets have been saying that, and I've seen a lot of people say this too, and they would be surprisingly okay if Cody lost this. I think for me it would be a shocker.
Yeah.
I think it'd be like, whoa, like you're one at no, not saying this is going to be a bad PLE, but kind of like not even lesser too, but like a PLE where it's just kind of a standalone thing, right?
Yeah.
A standalone thing like that, like Berlin or Bash in Berlin, and not something like SummerSlam or WrestleMania or even the Royal Rumble, something like that, right? But at an event like that, I feel like it'd be a shocker and it wouldn't really make sense to me at first. But and for thinking like storyline too, I do think what's going to happen is obviously Randy's going to have to get involved somehow. Maybe not in this match in particular, but in the storyline. And I think I don't want to jump ahead too, but his match with Gunther is going to ultimately set him on a course for Cody. I think that's what's going to happen. And I think if Kevin Owens does win, he does, become champion, could set up something like, I would say, and I hate to say it too, but maybe like Kevin could be like a transitional champion in a way where like Randy just takes it from him, and you're like Cody's like, want this shit back, Cody? And then he's like, yeah, and then like ultimately decimates him or whatever. I don't know. That could be a big prolonged storytelling, but I think that could still work even if Cody retains. But I do think for a lot of people too, this match, like you said, it's kind of like two baby faces. They respect each other. Even Kevin Owens is like, I don't deserve this match. Like my record's trash. My last year's record was total trash. I'm not good enough. That type of thing. So I do think this match will affect Kevin Owens in some capacity. Could turn him heel. It could definitely make him be like, wait a second. Like, did you just do this out of pity for me? Like, are you only giving me this fight because you think I'm not good enough to go anywhere else? That type of thing. Yeah. So I think that's probably what will happen. But I do believe that, for whatever reason, this match is going to mean a lot more than people think as well. Because on surface, it's just kind of like a simple match. But because think about like who Cody's already faced, right? He's faced Solo Sikoa. He's faced Logan Paul, obviously AJ Styles, and is that it so far? Am I mistaken?
I think yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because then he was in the 6-man match.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, and then he faced AJ Styles again. Okay, yeah. So out of those three, this would be the fourth match, right? So I think ultimately this match is going to set up for more storytelling than the others have, because the one with AJ Styles is great, and that's set up for like kind of like a little thing. The Logan Paul one, I'll admit, was just pure filler. I think that was, it was cool, but like whatever. And then obviously with Solo, Roman Reigns came back for that whole thing, so that's a whole other kind of situation about that. But this match definitely is going to be a storytelling thing, and like you said already too, like I think Cody's going to retain. I think Cody will be like, yeah, I didn't see I can beat anyone, that type of thing. And I think ultimately that'll affect Kevin Owens to the point where it's just like, you know what, fuck you, Cody, I'm done with this shit. I'm done being nice, that type of thing.
I would love to see heel. I don't remember the last time KO was a heel. It's definitely been a few years, because he had the whole babyface run with Sami Zayn. He's been fighting the bloodline since his literal existence, and that whole time I know he was always the good guy. So it's gotta be like 3+ years since we've seen a heel Kevin Owens, and like you haven't gotten to see it with your own eyes, but he's just so much better at being a bad guy, and I love him. I love he's very he can be a very lovable face, but he's just so good as a heel. So I want to see it come back. I think KO in general, on his own, I don't say he's gotten stale, but he just hasn't done nothing. Like they don't really give him any wins, and
he's just there to help Cody out with Randy.
Yeah, that's exactly. You made that point that his whole character right now is like, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough. Look at my record. So it's like, it's just better to be a heel and not be like the face that is losing everything. I think that heel turn is going to be that spark that can turn his luck around in his career trajectory. But We mentioned it. I saved this one for last because I do think since they're in Berlin, they're gonna give Gunther the main event, just like when they did the Drew McIntyre Priest match and they let that main event.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think Daring General versus the Viper, the Apex Predator, the Legend Killer Randy Orton. It's gonna be a banger. Obviously we already saw this match at King of the Ring, but here we are now. Months later, different scenario. Gunther is now your world champ. Randy Orton, still a big buff legend. How are you feeling about this presumed Bash in Berlin main event?
Bash in Berlin. Well, I'll tell you what. I think this will be the chance for Gunther to really show his stuff. I do think it's a good. I think it's a good title match anyway, and regardless, because you have Randy Orton, like you said, the Apex Predator himself, the Viper. Obviously, he's going to put on a good show. And I saw some of the highlights already, too, from Raw. So, cool that he's on Raw for a little bit as well for this. Seeing the highlights, and they're beefing back and forth on the mic. It's really cool to see it. They both have a really good, stage presence. And I do think, at this point, I'll tell you what, I don't think Gunther's going to win with any interference. I think it's just going to be a clean match. Obviously, because he has Ludwig on like his little pocket, his little Imperium, but I don't think that he'll interfere at all. So I think it'll just be like a straightforward match. I think it'll be definitely physically violent because you'll see Gunther with all those chops. So he's gonna be turning his chest to ground beef. Oh, it's gonna hurt so much. But then Randy's gonna get some good moves on it. I think it'll be at least 2 RKOs probably.
Oh yeah.
I know he won't just save one, but I think Gunther retains. I think. Because of that, he'll still disrespect the hell out of Randy. He'll be like, you're a worthless piece of shit, blah, 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 whatever. And I think it does that to the point where the voices start speaking in his head even more now for Randy. And I think he says, okay, well, fuck, if I fail at getting this one, there's another one that I know I can get right there. And he's going to turn and look at Cody's, be like, boom, like, I'm going to go for you next. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think this is what the trajectory is going to be. As we've seen all the clips, we've seen Randy staring at Cody's championship, looking at it, being like, I got your back, don't worry, like he'll be there, he'll be support his back to stab it, perhaps, who knows. But I think this match will be good. I think Gunther will retain and show why he deserves to be the world heavyweight champion already, because he put the Intercontinental Championship up so high, being the champion for so many days for that. But I think this is the next turn for him, and yeah, I think he wins for the home crowd because obviously we're in Berlin.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a no-brainer that Gunther retains. WWE has him, as you said, way too high on a pedestal after that Intercontinental Championship reign and winning the King of the Ring and now being your World Heavyweight Champion, to just lose it. And I'm pretty sure this is his first title defense. So there's just no way that he's going to lose it. This man's going to have a reign. I don't think it will be as lengthy as the Intercontinental title reign was, but it's still going to be a reign, at least maybe like a Damian Priest length type reign, a few months at minimum. I'd be shocked if it's any less, especially, again, being Gunther. And truthfully, again, I don't be watching Raw and SmackDown like the full 3 hours. So I still haven't gotten the full backstory as for why Randy Orton is even like on Raw. I'm pretty sure it's tied to their King of the Ring match. Like I think Randy's like shoulder was up or something. So like
he was like, yo, you beat me in King of the Ring, but did you really beat me? And then he's like, oh, like I got something to prove, that type of thing. So
I mean, he's just like, you know what? I'm on SmackDown, but I'm gonna show up on Raw. So like, I don't know. That shit was always a little weird for me. I'm like, okay, it's cool. Like it's gonna be a credible contender for Gunther to beat to really start a good trajectory for his reign. So I get it in that sense. But I just don't see any world where Randy Orton wins, especially, logistically as a SmackDown superstar. But then just past it, it's like, if Randy's going to win a title, it for sure would be by beating Cody Rhodes, I feel like. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun physical match. I mean, the match they had at King of the Ring was also just as good when Cody was busy doing his filler arc with Logan Paul. Gunther was fighting Randy Orton for King of the Ring. So this is the second time we've seen it. Although, I don't know, not to say their King of the Ring match was forgettable, but this feels so fresh. Like, it's like the way they rebranded it, where it's like you could easily forget that they only just fought a few months ago, So, I'm excited for it. I do think it deserves the main event. I think I know Gunther is gonna, or should be getting cheered crazy based on where they are in the home crowd. I'm interested to see if that makes the crowd, just for the night, kind of turn on Randy Orton. Or if there's going to be like almost, again, seem like Cody and Kevin, like just two faces for the night. I think that'll be interesting. I'm very interested to see the crowd reaction to this match and how they cheer or boo either wrestler. But yeah, I think it's going to be a Gunther victory to finish the night. I don't see any interference. I think it's just Gunther walking off. And the true storytelling, as you already alluded to, will be Randy Orton crawling his way back over to SmackDown, getting involved in whatever the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens fallout was, and seeing where we go from there. But, Mista, we're done. We're already done. It definitely felt pretty quick compared to the others, as we only have 4 matches. So thanks for coming on last minute. Appreciate it. And until we are able to come back on, probably for maybe some bad blood discussion. We'll have to see. I think that's the next one. I think that's the next one. There might be one in between it. We'll see.
I did want to say too, like I think it's kind of like an understatement. Oh, thank you, of course. But obviously, or not obviously, yeah. But Roman challenged Solo for the title of Tribal Chief, and he lost because he got jumped, had no help, needed some people to return. Maybe they're saying out for bad blood, perhaps. But I will say, people have been saying like that was Roman's last match, and he's taking another little break again before he comes back. Probably the case. Same with Seth Rollins. Same with probably R-Truth and The Miz as well. Or did The Miz get hurt by Braun Strowman? I forget.
Yeah. He got written off by Bronson Reed. He got tsunami'd.
Which, I forgot about that too. They're still trying to set up a feud here with Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman.
Yes.
On Raw. So that could be something kind of cool. They're really trying to push Bronson Reed up, though. I can really tell.
Yeah.
Trying to make him seem more like a threat. But
Monster.
Anyway, that's kind of a side piece. But yeah, so Roman's going to be out for a little bit. I do think he comes back for Bad Blood because I think it'll be his first PLE since WrestleMania. If you want to count SummerSlam as well, but he didn't actually fight in it. So I think he'll be back for that, and obviously that's what's going to start up the Bloodline Civil War. So more than likely, yeah, that's just kind of a little side piece as well.
Yeah, I do think that's the direction. And I saw a meme actually where Roman was like on the ground, like the big ass bug eyes, and people were like, when you finally realize that this just means Roman Reigns is getting written off once again. like it's just like, damn, he just came back only to get written off again. That contract, man, he is making bank for never showing up. But with that being said, go ahead.
No, sir, he's just straight up dipping.
True, he's just straight up dipping. But with that being said, until we can see the Bloodline Civil War progress, until Bad Blood, and inevitably Survivor Series, we have Bash in Berlin. So please enjoy it next Saturday. We will be watching. It's on very early because it's in Germany. I'm pretty sure it's on like 1 or something. So this is gonna be our first Night and I's first time in a while. Probably watching it separately. But it's okay because we'll be back for the next PLE. We might have a Bash in Berlin post podcast, but no promises. Schedule is a little busy around this time, so we'll see. But you got your pre-podcast leading up to the PLE. So Mista, thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for helping us breeze through episode 13. I'm interested to see the total runtime on this one. And yeah, for more wrestling content all around WWE, AEW, PLEs, pay-per-views, discussion, any news such as Ricochet, rumored to be signed by AEW, All Elite. Make sure to subscribe, follow this channel, Matt RDK, and for this podcast, I hope you are able to continue your story. I love that catchphrase, man. We finally got that shit down. Nice. All right.
Beautiful.
From Night Sky and I, peace out. Thank you guys so much for watching the Story Continues cast, and we will see you in the next one. Wow!